GPT-5, we like it. GPT-5 presentation, I give it an F. Actually, I take that back. I give it a U. I give it an uncomfortable. I was just so uncomfortable the whole time.
Welcome to the Vibe Flow with Jordan and Will. Let's go. Tech news and AI trends. Tune in now with your friends.
All right, we're going to debrief on this GPT-5 launch. This is a whole episode. It is
What's
did
up,
we
Jordan?
think about?
How's your morning been so far?
It's been so uncomfortable. I mean, it's tricky because GPT-5 is probably, they probably have done an incredible job with the model, but boy, did they botch that demo. The announcement was just so uncomfortable. How are you doing over there, Will?
Yeah, I think they might need to do get some acting school in there, get some lessons going, because I appreciate their energy that they put into this, and I think if they just did a little bit more at the end there, they could make it more comfortable for the rest of the viewers. I don't know how many millions of people log into the live streams, but it's great. We were joking. We live streamed the live stream within the company to watch the announcement. It was fun to kind of have popcorn out with the team and speculate on things that were getting dropped, and then also to share in the awkwardness that some of the demos were in there. But I think they got through it most of all.
Did they? Technically, they got through it. It ended.
Technically, they got through it, and there was no real errors, right?
We were in the conference room, a few of us, and this was me the majority of the time. I couldn't watch. It was so uncomfortable. It's like, okay, here's my hypothesis. I think that they had a teleprompter that was either on the fritz or just completely broken, because it was very obvious that they were looking somewhere and they were trying to compose themselves, but then no one knew what to say. And even the people that I think sometimes are much better public speakers, like Sam Altman's an excellent public speaker, talks pretty good, but they were all a little off. And I think maybe they had a teleprompter issue. Just my hypothesis. Hypothesis. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, they launched their new frontier model, which we've all been waiting for. I think the speculation maybe a month ago was that it was going to be released in August. It's only August 7th and we have the model. So that's also awesome. We're not sure if they're killing the other models. That was kind of leaked by one of the people that were demoing on stage. As of now, it still has other models in there. But yeah, GPT-5 is released today. It's already in Cursor. Some of our developers are already starting to try it out in Cursor, which is super cool. Cursor made a big announcement during the show as well. The CEO was on stage with them, so they're getting chummy. Interesting, because up to this point they were very close with Anthropic, right? You would use the Sonnet models for most of Cursor's coding. They're now saying
they also were going to acquire Windsurf,
something that we covered only a few weeks ago. Yeah. It was interesting. They didn't use Codex when they showed the demos of coding with it. They just went straight into using Cursor. I thought it was kind of cool, but also, what is that signal? What are you speculating here?
Yeah, that is interesting. So with Codex, it wouldn't be as good of a demo because it's not interactive. Codex, you just one shot, you tell it what to do, and it makes a pull request for you, and that's it. Whereas Cursor, you're engaging with it, you're interacting with it, you can see its chain of thought. And so it's definitely a better demo experience, but you're totally right. Why are they not showcasing their own products? GPT-5 under the hood of Codex, what is it capable of? That's not even, who knows if they're even going to continue Codex. Maybe Codex was just an experiment and now they're going to get rid of it. I can only speculate.
Well, they were kind of doing their own vibe coding in it, right? So they showed a couple examples where they'll say, build me this game, and then it will compile, and then they would just press a button in the top right in ChatGPT,
that's
and it
true.
would actually start the game. So actually, it is its own lovable windsurf. It's not as obviously feature rich as a Cursor, but certainly from a vibe coding perspective, it was up there.
And Codex is launched from ChatGPT. So maybe they're going to merge the two, right? Maybe that's the idea of Codex doing a task for you in your code base is the same as just chatting with it about how you're going to make your breakfast burrito tomorrow morning. Maybe they're going to combine those. But the real power, I think, is definitely still in IDEs like Cursor. And Cursor is like the only one. I feel like there's competitors. Anytime I hear someone using a competitive Cursor now, I'm like, I don't know. I think you just got to switch to Cursor. It's just the best. And now if they have such a great relationship with OpenAI. So yeah, it sounds like Cursor is now gonna default to the GPT-5 models. I've always used Sonnet with max mode on in Cursor, so I'm super curious to see how this works. I'm actually working on a refactoring project right now, using Sonnet. And so I'm going to do the same thing with GPT-5, and I'll report back next week how it is.
Please,
but we'll see.
Please do.
An apples to apples comparison.
What was interesting, actually, I just remembered is I think last week I saw a post that suggested I think it's 50% of the API revenue that Anthropic have is coming from Cursor. So Cursor's their biggest by far API user. And this seems to have been maybe a strategic decision by the team at OpenAI to really lean into to befriend them. That could absolutely cripple Anthropic's API revenue line if they now have moved everyone directly over to using GPT-5 instead of the Sonnet models in Cursor.
Yeah, that's an interesting faucet of money for Anthropic. I mean, I didn't realize that it was that much. I mean, that's yeah. It's a little scary when somebody just has to click a button and 50% of your revenue goes off.
Yeah, I think that's what they were reporting. Here it is. This is what was being reported. So of OpenAI's or Anthropic's $5 billion in ARR, it's kind of broken down into consumer, business, but by far the biggest part of their revenue comes from API revenue. And if you look at this graph, Cursor and GitHub Copilot accounts for basically half of their total API revenue. Doesn't break out what's GitHub versus what's Cursor, but my bet is that most of that is Cursor usage. And so that's actually going to be a huge, meaningful part that's going to reduce down, or it's actually going to move, right? It's going to move from here to here. It's going to go up on the OpenAI side of the bar chart, which is wild.
Yeah, we'll see. I have some other interesting OpenAI news. That is,
what else you got?
That is not completely off topic. It's about talent. It's still a talent game. I don't know if you heard this. I haven't seen legit news source about it yet, but it sounds relatively accurate. Every employee of OpenAI is getting $1.5 million bonus.
Wow.
Every single one over 2 years. So every employee starting, if they're employed now, and for the next 2 years. So if you join in the next 2 years, you get it. You get a $750,000. Are you trying to join them, Jordan? Hey, Sam. You get a $750,000 bonus per year for 2 years. So what I heard is
that's like a hey, stay with us, don't take your Meta offer.
Correct.
It's a fraction though, right, of what Meta's offering a lot of people, but
this is obviously this is for everybody, non-technical. So this is high caliber go-to-market teams, recruiting team, operation team, everybody who's kind of behind the scenes but still plays a really, really critical role. I imagine these are for those people, researchers and some of the other high caliber engineers. I imagine this still stands, but they probably get more anyway. Some other bonuses going out. But if this is true, every single person is I just figured it out. That's why the demo was so horrible, because everyone just took their money and left. The guy who runs the teleprompter, he's out. He just took his money. He's out of there.
His million and a half, and he's for teleprompting, and he's out.
He's gone.
Yeah, it makes sense that they need to do something to plug the leak. They had a lot of obviously leadership change over the last couple of years. A lot of people have left. The board's all changed. There's seemingly just so many AI researchers that are moving to other groups as well. You got to plug that leak. Hopefully cash is king. Hopefully that's going to help them. It doesn't feel like with all this leaking that they're slowing down with their releases though, right? GPT-5 obviously is a big step change in quality compared to many other models that are out there. It definitely is frontier stuff. But yeah, you whatever they're releasing today, you've got to assume that they're already deep on the research and the sort of the building of the products that are to be released, right? And so there's got to be that constant innovation that's happening. You can't get that really if everyone's just leaving all the times. Giving some people some cash so they stick around it makes sense, especially if they're like, it's a little bit up in the air as like what their stock awards will eventually be worth, if anything, because of the whole being the fact that they're not moving to a for-profit model at the moment. So I think we'll have to see on that piece.
Yeah, Will, you were the first one to use the analogy that I heard of like a sports league, right? So your teammates, like your players, are the product, right? They're the asset that you need to build out the products that then succeed. There's only a few of these large players. So this is kind of like a league, right? This is like the mega league. And here you are saying like, yeah, our best top players are all going to be making $100 million or some insane number. It's way more than the coach, which is like, the CEO or some of the executives, because like those are your players. It's very analogous to sports leagues, common sports leagues. But this is great. I think this is cool if this is true, the 1.5 million, because you're saying like collectively every single person is actually super valuable. Yeah, your like top researchers, your Barry Bondses of the team are going to be like making an insane amount of money, but we really do need everyone on this team to make it work. And so I think it's a great, a valuable little PR. Whether it's a PR stunt or an actual like strategy, we'll see.
Moving on to the next exciting news about it was in the build up to this. So we talked about there was a lot of speculation that they were going to release their new model, GPT-5. They did. What a lot of people do these days is actually bet on these things. And we're seeing sort of like real-time swings in prediction markets for different types of things. This is the Polymarket for which AI lab, which company will have the best AI model by the end of August. I think it's kind of based on a collection of benchmarks. They released a number of their benchmarks showing like extremely high scores, showing that they're actually saturating a lot of these benchmarks, getting like they've eked out from 98 to 99% on a benchmark. So we'll need much harder benchmarks in the future. Obviously, the speculation has been that this model released today is going to be huge. You can see kind of people betting with their money. As of 2 days ago, before this announcement, it was now sort of the early kind of conversation, the insider trading was happening. People were saying, hey, they were speculating this is like a really, really great model. And then what happened between 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., Jordan, is that we were on a live stream watching them awkwardly stumble through this presentation, and all of a sudden it completely swapped to Google.
I would take this bet. At
16%, or so. Let's see where it is like right now. In the last hour, so you can see right now it's trending OpenAI 16% chance of having it. That feels like a pretty good bet. If you're a betting man, you would take that?
I would definitely take it. I mean, if you base it on their presentation, then I would not take this bet, but I am a user of their models like through and through. I think something just went so south on the presentation, but I don't think that anything happened to the model. The model seems like it's going to be great, right?
Yeah, the model's not pricing in. They're overpricing in the botch presentation.
Yeah.
I mean, What's
the quantifiable number here for the best model? They have to explain.
I think it's a benchmark. It will say what the rule is. It'll be on chatbot LLM Arena under the leaderboard. So there always needs to be a very objective piece to these questions that are asked, and because there's obviously money at hand. This suggests, though, so clearly, like on LLM Arena, I'm sure OpenAI will currently be the leader. This is suggesting as well that not only is Google's next model going to be better, but they're actually going to release it before the end of August and have it verified on LLM Arena. So it's like 20 days away. I don't know if
Can you see? So that was at 10 o'clock. Did you look to see? So we're recording this directly after the live stream. We haven't actually gone and done much research. Have you researched to see if Google did put something out?
No, I don't think they've released anything. I think this is all speculation that they will release something. And so it's suggesting then that the when they do, it's going to happen in August. This is like, it's going to be out by the end of August. When they do release it, it's going to come out by August. It's then also going to be a better model than what they have. So LLM Arena leaderboard, as you can see, GPT-5 is already right at the top of it, outranking Gemini 2.5 Pro, which was the previously highest leaderboard one for text and also for web development. They're also beating it with this higher score. And LLM Arena essentially puts multiple models against each other head to head, and users vote on which response they like the best. And so it's generally speaking kind of like a really valuable way to decide which model is better than which other model. If you take it just on the benchmark scores, for instance, you can train and fine tune and reinforce learn your models to really like overfit the benchmarks. So you can score really highly in a certain benchmark, but that's only because you're adding a lot of that like training data into your model. The model actually might not be like broadly applicable. And so what LLM Arena is doing is that they do have a few different ways of doing it here. So vision, interestingly, text to image is still ImGen 4.0 from Google is still the highest there. From search, it doesn't look like there's enough data yet, maybe from 5 on a couple of these other benchmarks, but certainly the main ones we care about is like, is it good at coding? Is it good at producing text? 5 is right at the top there. So I think we're speculating that Google will drop something in the next 3 weeks, which is going to exceed this. If anything, it's just super exciting, especially as a consumer and as a user of these products, right? We don't really care which model we're using. We just want the best model for the tasks that we're trying to do. We want it at an affordable price. We want it to be fast. And so what this does show is that everyone's really like fighting hard to create those best frontier models. Competition's great. It's really amazing for the users. So you and I get to play with all these brand new models. They're throwing like billion-dollar training runs at the table, and only to be kind of usurped by their competition like 3 weeks later. Just the pace of change is just insane. What do you think about it all, John?
Yeah, I mean, I do not want to be involved in a foundation layer company. Like it just seems like such an aggressive lifestyle to have to always be fighting for that next 10 points on the LLM Arena. And like what goes into those 10 points is insane. And the second you slow down, you're eaten up. It's crazy. So I love our space. Like I just love being a consumer, both like an actual personal consumer, but also as an enterprise software company, we consume these models and we use them. I love just knowing that it's always going to get better. And I think obviously we haven't had any time to put this model into our products yet, but we have been building a few agent products internally and releasing them shortly to our customers. And we know that the model are just about ready. They're like just good enough to work. But we know that GPT-5 around the corner, whatever's after that, whatever Google comes out with, they will just make our products better. And so it's great. You're right. You're totally right. Like we're kind of sitting in the backseat and having a little fun with it, where they're like busting their asses trying to get those extra 10 points on LLM Arena. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. I will report back next week on what we find in terms of the comparison with O3, which is the reasoning model that they had previously, and GPT-5, which is allegedly still using the same reasoning concepts. In terms of the pricing, it's so much cheaper. It was like, what, 10x cheaper? Is it 10x cheaper?
8x on the output tokens.
8x?
It was $10 instead of $80 versus like O3 Pro.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so almost 10 times cheaper. And what does that mean? I guess that's a question you asked me right before we started filming this, is like, is it actually going to be as good? Or do you have to tweak it a little bit to get it to trigger its reasoning? Like, how's it going to work? We'll find out.
Yeah, we're excited to use it. I think to your point as well, like I don't envy being the frontier model level of the stack. It seems crazy competitive. It's not that the application layer is not competitive. It's just that there's so many more use cases to go after at the app layer. And so we're really excited. I think it's becoming like increasingly clear as these models get better and better. the underlying model, you can kind of swap in, swap out. You can use an orchestration of many of them. So you might want something that's going to be faster to do some sort of initial retrieval, and then you want to use something that's going to be a bit slower that can think a bit more deeply to actually go and provide something more deeper context for how your application works. I think for many companies like ours, the playbook's becoming quite clear now that you're going to have to go super deep on sort of the context engineering for your specific vertical or space. You're going to really need to know your industry in and out. It's going to be abundantly clear that you really need to like dial in these SOPs for different workflows. You need to like really calibrate your tools that you want to build, that you want these models to be able to go and call. And it's about pulling all those pieces together. And, I think the opportunity just keeps opening up, that there's more and more opportunity to really take away human labor out of all these kind of crazy manual workflows and bring them much more into the software stack. So There's a proliferation happening, and it's kind of agnostic to industry, right? And I don't think there's going to be companies that are going to be able to go super broad that successfully, because so much of it really comes down to the very specific nuances of your industry, your vertical, or even like really like the specific workflow that you're trying to work on. And so it's all about your eval suite. It's all about all these small bits that make your business, your industries, like nuances really work. And these models are only going to be able to help deliver those results more effectively. So I agree with you. We're like right at that tipping point where the models are going to like move from good enough to great. We're seeing them perform a lot better than kind of like on a consistency basis than taking 100 different humans doing the same task. This is going to kind of like superpower that even further.
Yep. I've been telling my team, I've been trying to tell customers this as well. The AI, the actual AI is not the magic sauce of what we're proposing to our customers. It is the product. So the product couldn't exist without the AI there, but AI is becoming just ubiquitous, right? It's there. It's now an API we just use, we consume it. And so as that API gets better, our product gets better, but the taste and everything that we put into the actual product to allow you to use the AI, that is really the special sauce. I also think it used to be fine-tuning these models. I don't think that's a thing anymore. Like, the models are just so good that you just don't need to fine-tune them. They're just going to do what you want to do. You just have to make the product that surrounds it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it comes down to eval suites and essentially like in the context window, putting in there the exact correct like inputs, outputs that you want to see. And that's effectively as good as the fine tuning that you might otherwise be like more baking into the model. Now you can kind of just do that more on the fly. And so the variables that can go into that is super exciting because you can make things much more fluid, and you could have 1,000 different workflows that are all slightly similar and kind of share some knowledge, but then they can all be very specifically fine-tuned, whereas you couldn't do that before. You wouldn't want to go and fine-tune 1,000 different versions of a model. That's just like crazy talk. So being able to do this at the cutting edge is it's super exciting. And it's the reason that we're now going 6 days a week in office.
Surprise announcement.
Surprise, we're deprecating all models except for 5, and we're going 6 days a week in office.
Love it.
Because we gotta get after it, Jordan.
Gotta get after it. Well, I gotta go get after it. But thanks for joining in on this special edition of the Vibe Flow GPT-5 release. We just live streamed
instant reactions to it.
And this is it. So I guess to summarize before we take off, GPT-5, we like it. We just always expect greatness. I think they are giving us greatness. GPT-5 presentation, I give it an F, and I give it just actually, I take that back. I give it a U. I give it an uncomfortable. I was just so uncomfortable the whole time.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining Vibe Flow for this live reaction to GPT-5. Remember to like and subscribe. Smash that button.
Smash.
And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.